Okay, so we're back at it again. Now, I was watching a little bit of this just before I started the video because I wanted to make sure I got off to the right part. Now, he's about to say something, and I just want to comment on what he says. All right, let's hear it.
Probably on that ankle. I mean,
See, Jim Boylen he came from Pop, so he tries to answer like Pop, but you don't have the resume to do Pop things. Pop can answer this question like this, because you're not supposed to question Popovich. He's just great at what he does.
Let's figure that out.
Is he? Is Popovich great at what he does? Now, like so many other coaches, great coaches in history, some coaches are great at coaching great talent. Like Phil Jackson was a great talent like he was a coach of great talent. He was the best coach of great talent. One of the best coaches of great talent. All right. We've never seen Phil Jackson coach a successful NBA season without Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal, or Kobe Bryant. Now, we've seen Phil Jackson turn down the Knicks job back when they had Carmelo Anthony because he didn't feel Carmelo was good enough. Which means Carmelo was not a Kobe, Carmelo was not a Shaq, Carmelo was not a Michael Jordan. Which means, look, he wasn't a player that I can trust to go out there and win me games. Is not a player I can trust to go out there and win me championships. So, let's not act like these great coaches aren't benefiting from the great talent that they have. I mean, we didn't hear anything about a Greg Popovich being a great coach until they drafted Tim Duncan, and pretty much Tim Duncan carried that goddamn team for the next 20 years. Okay? Like, we didn't hear nothing about Pop before Tim Duncan. Just like we really didn't care too much about Bill Belichick before Tom Brady. Let's not get it messed up. Let's not get it mixed up. Okay? And Pop was the beneficiary of another great talent in Kawhi Leonard, which he completely screwed that up. But he was able to flip Kawhi, who didn't want to be there anymore, and bring in a DeMar DeRozan, and he has been able to somewhat float above the water. like the Spurs are floating. They're not even swimming. They're floating. They're just not drowning yet. Okay? But the Spurs are very close to drowning because that talent that they have is diminishing. Now, they do have some great players that's on the up, that's on the come up, like DeJounte Murray and Lonnie Walker. Like, they do have some great talent there. But, yeah, don't expect the Spurs to be champions anytime soon. Mark my words. Okay? But let's get to it.
You say you pulled four.
He said you made three egregious defensive mistakes.
This is my favorite moment for Zach LaVine this season. This statement.
Got 13 points scored on him, I guess, or, it was a starting five, I don't remember. So, I thought I did, I thought I was trying to do my job out there. So, I got to take it with stride, and like I said, I can't do anything about that. I just got to control what I can control. I can't control my minutes.
Right.
And what did he do next game? He came out and dropped like 1,000 points to the game winner against Charlotte. Y'all saw that play off the end.
Okay, so Zach LaVine apparently didn't get the minutes that he was accustomed to because Jim Boylen thought that he was not making the right plays defensively. Now, I've said this plenty of times, and I'm going to keep saying it. Offense does not win championships. Offense does not build a winning culture, a winning mentality in the locker room. Defense does. Defense is very important. Defense is very important. And let me just tell you for a second, man, the movie that reinstilled that philosophy to me that I haven't watched since I was a little kid. I love this movie series, The Mighty Ducks. I used to watch it when I was a kid. I used to love that movie series. And I was watching one of the movies, and one of the coach of the hockey team put an emphasis on defense because defense is what wins championships. the greatest players in the history of the game who have been multiple champions were great defenders. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. I'm pretty sure Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was a great defender as well. Michael Jordan. Even LeBron James when he saw fit. Like Shaquille O'Neal. Kobe Bryant before he decided that being a fucking 30-point per game dynamo was important to him. Okay? Defense wins championships. Okay? It wins and you can never ignore that. Now, when you decide that you want to show poor defensive discipline out there, you're going to get pulled. You should get pulled. Like, why should you only show up on the offensive end and decide that you want to be lazy on the defensive end and you expect the coach to keep you in the game? Come on, how reasonable is that? The point of these videos is I'm trying to take some of the blame and I'm trying to show people, look, Boylen is not as bad as people keep making this dude out to be, man. Sometimes just the environment is so toxic, it's hard for you to get anything productive done. Like, you can't be productive in a toxic environment. It's really hard. It is really hard. It's not easy at all.
That was the next game. To bring the starters back a little sooner? Nope. Why is that? Because I'm going to develop this bench and I'm going to develop this team.
Oh my God! This is the moment.
I got 15 guys to develop, and
this is the moment.
I'm going to play them in those moments, and they're going to learn how to play winning basketball.
I'm going to develop this bench.
One of the most important aspects of championship teams is the bench. You can't tell me 3 players on that bench for the Chicago Bulls who, when you throw them in the game, the pace of the Bulls, the tempo, like the production, like you can't tell me 3. Look at the Toronto Raptors last year. Their starters were Kawhi, and I believe Norman Powell was their shooting guard. Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, and I believe Marc Gasol was their starter. But coming off the bench, you had Fred VanVleet, who was one of the best bench players in the NBA last year. Serge Ibaka, who would come in, he could play the 4 and the 5 at a high level. And you had OG Anunoby, you had you had all these players coming off the bench, man. Jakob Poeltl, like you had these players coming off the bench. Danny Green, or I believe Danny Green was the starter at shooting guard, and then like Norman Powell will come in. But bro, look, you see how the depth is? Depth is important. Okay? And when the Bulls is as bad as a team as they are, sometimes you gotta attack things from a different perspective. And when it's hard for you to get the starters to play better, sometimes, you know what? Let me see if I can work wonders with this bench. Maybe the bench could provide me a spark in these games that gives us a chance. Maybe the starters will see that the bench is actually producing a lot more, and that will inspire them to play better. Like maybe it's something like that, man. I'm telling you, the Bulls they're not good, and it's not because Jim Boylen is bad. It's just sometimes when you're used to living a certain way, it's hard to change. It is hard to, especially overnight. It's hard to change, man. I have no problem with what he said right there. That is a coach's answer. That is a coach's... Look, I have 14, 15 guys on this team. I don't have 5 guys. I don't have 3 guys. I don't have 1 guy. I have 14 to 15 guys. My job as the head coach is to make sure my starters are playing at the level that they're supposed to be playing, and I got to make sure I get the most out of my bench. What's wrong with that?
Up this bench? Bro, we were up at like 20 against the Lakers and we lost this game. I'm going to develop this bench. I don't care that we got these guys, the starters, actually playing really, really good. I'm going to develop this bench. Bro, half of that bench is not going to...
Okay, now let's take a minute, okay, to look at the little ticker at the bottom below Jim Boylen right there, where they say that the Lakers won 118 to 112. Now, just under that, Let's go back to what he said about the Bulls playing great basketball. Let's go under that little box score right there, the score of the game. And does that say 6-2 or does it say 2-6? Because great basketball teams aren't going 2-6. Okay, you're playing great basketball. I mean, great basketball teams aren't 19 for 36. Okay, great basketball teams do not have almost double the losses that they have wins. Okay, I think that's a fact right there. All right, now you being up 20 on LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers means nothing, especially when you have teams like the Golden State Warriors who are up by 20. No, the San Antonio Spurs who are up by 20 on the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs, in the Western Conference playoffs, and when what's the guy's name? Zaza Pachulia decided to not decided when Zaza Pachulia injured Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard missed the rest of the game. Mind you, they're up by 20 in the Western Conference Finals. A Greg Popovich coached team, okay, who has the cachet to say whatever he wants, right? They lost the game, I believe, by 10 points. How do you give up a 20-point lead and you still lose by double digits, bro? Like, come on, man. Come on. So you're telling me that the Chicago Bulls, who have shown no potential whatsoever outside of being able to put up a lot of points from time to time, that has shown no potential whatsoever, is going to hold a 20-point lead, especially if the 20-point lead is not in the fourth quarter, against a LeBron James and an Anthony Davis? You mean to tell me that that team is going to hold that lead? Be realistic, man. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. And I've said, man, look, I respect King of the Fourth Quarter's opinions. I mean, I respect everybody's opinion, even if they're wrong, man, because I think that's the only thing that we have to share with the world that shouldn't be taken away from us is our opinions. No matter how false, no matter how wrong the opinion is, I mean, just that's the only thing in your brain that you have that you can share with the world that means something to you is your opinion, right? So I respect his opinion, and I'm not saying and that little soliloquy I just had is no indictment on him, man. Like I told you, I love his channel, man. I love watching his videos. I think dude is talented, man. I will watch this dude on ESPN. I will watch him on FS1. I will watch him. He is that good. Don't get me wrong. But when you are a fan, it clouds your judgment. It does. It clouds your judgment to a fault. Now let's hear what this man, who I just said, and if you go back and look at any of his videos, you know this dude is very, very talented, right? So let's go back. No, let's not go back. Shit. Let's listen to what he's about to say when Jim Boylen said, "I'm trying to develop my bench." Okay, from a basketball fan's perspective. All right.
I'm gonna develop this bench, bro. Half of that bench is not gonna be there next season. You want to develop those dudes? They're gonna be in the G League. They're gonna be out of the league.
There you go. Okay, so because the players aren't good enough, so why is all right? First of all, there's a few points I want to attack right here. All right, so if the bench isn't good enough to warrant attention from the head coach, why is Jim Boylen getting so much flack for the team being as bad as they are? That's one. Two, just because the bench players aren't starters, who aren't putting up 20, 30 points a game, who aren't making you go, "Oh my God, that was incredible" every single night, they're supposed to be ignored? Bro, that's sad, man. That's sad. And I'm gonna be honest, man, this is the mindset of people now. Like, if you aren't giving me what I want, if you're not giving me what I feel like I need from you, you're no longer of any value. Even if you can do what I can't do. Because let's not get it fucked up. Bench players in the NBA who don't even get minutes are far better basketball players than the majority of the public. Let's not get them. They're not in the NBA for no reason. Let's not get that messed up. But because they're not performing at a James Harden, a Russell Westbrook, a LeBron James level every single night or at all, they're not supposed to benefit from coaching. They're not supposed to benefit from attention. That's like saying the dumb kid that can't seem to get the math questions right doesn't deserve to get the teacher's attention or time because he can't get the fucking shit right anyway. That's kind of messed up, man. That's messed up. And this is why being a fan and trying to pretend you're not being a fan in the moment is dangerous. Okay? It's dangerous and it is a bad look. But let's go.
I'm going to develop my bench.
I'm not doing that. So we're going to develop that second group, and we're going to have a bench here in Chicago, and I'm going to keep coaching it.
One of the biggest components to the 90s Bulls' success, and I don't care who says otherwise, was that bench. That bench was pivotal. That bench was pivotal. With the B.J. Armstrongs, the Steve Kerrs, that bench was pivotal, man. To championship teams, benches are pivotal. Because it means to have a great bench versus a bad bench means if I go to the bench, I'm the best player in the NBA. I go to the bench while my team has a 20-point lead. When I get back into the game like 7 minutes from now, are we going to still have that 20-point lead or are we going to be down by 5 to 10 points? That's how pivotal a bench is. So, okay. This was Jim Boylen, and I hope this was Jim Boylen's defense of himself versus all the backlash this dude seems to be getting. I hope this was him defending himself. Because I'm sorry for that. It's a train right by where I live, man. I'm sorry. But I hope either somebody come to defense of this guy or he starts to defend himself. Because I feel like right now people are just taking jabs at him unnecessarily. But let's go.
There's not an answer to this. Hey, we make a couple more shots, our record's different. We get a couple more stops, our record's different. Our record is what it is.
We get a new head coach and our record's different.
My job is to keep coaching and developing this group of men.
Take that as a quote from the man Jim Boylen. This should be the sentiment of every head coach in every sport across the world. My job is to keep coaching and developing this group of men. That is his job. That's pretty much what his job is, man. That's pretty much what his job is. And his little comment on, if we make more shots, if we get more stops, our record will be better, but our record is what it is. That means, look, if the players can execute better, if the players show better discipline on defense, maybe we would have a better record. But since we don't get that kind of production, just because we don't get that kind of discipline from them, maybe this team just isn't that good. That's pretty much what he's saying. And I agree with it. The Bulls have been terrible for years. They were terrible before he got there. Let's not act like he's supposed to be the driving force to fix it in one season pretty much.
That's what I'm doing. And how we do that is we come in and work. We were just trying to get a three, execute something we've been working on, an action that we've been working on. And I thought their pressure...
Here's a disgrace to that. That logo in the background is the best logo in the league.
No, that logo in the background is not the best logo in the league. The Bulls were nobodies before Michael Jordan got there. Before they got Michael Jordan, the Bulls were nobody. They were nobody. Nobody to fear. They had no history. They weren't great before Michael Jordan got there. Michael Jordan turned them into a powerhouse. He turned them. Michael Jordan, one man, turned that franchise into a figure in the NBA for years to come. The Bulls got the name they have. They have the respect they have because of him. The ironic thing is they were nothing before he got there. They've been nothing since he left. Oh, what about, in 2010, 2011, 2012 when Derrick Rose was there? Derrick Rose was a flash in the pan. He was a great player, but he was a spark for a moment. For a moment. And sadly, his career hasn't panned out the way that people thought that his career would pan out. And I've been one of the people that's been saying this dude is not a Hall of Famer. Now, I think that he is in the Hall of Very Good because, he was very good. But to be in the Hall of Fame, you have to have sustained greatness for years. I'm sorry. He doesn't have that. The Bulls haven't been to the NBA Finals since Jordan left. The Bulls, the closest they've came was the Eastern Conference trip where they lost to LeBron. They have not been the same since. I don't think they'll ever be the same. And it's a shame that a franchise's greatest moment was when they had one player who pretty much changed the game. And they have never been able to recapture that or any glimpse of that since. And that was the greatest moment was in the 90s, and that will always be there. That's sad. That's a sad thought. And I feel for Bulls fans, man. Because as a fan, man, like you root for a team because of hometown pride, or your family has rooted for that team ever since you were a kid, or you've seen the greatest basketball player play and he made you love the game. And it's sad to know that now that guy is gone, that you may never get that moment back. And I hope that's not the case. I think every team deserves an opportunity to have this moment. Every team deserves to have that moment. And it'll be sad if the Bulls don't ever have that moment again, but they're not a great franchise. They're not. They just had the benefit of having the greatest player and the greatest number 2, and they just haven't been able to recapture that. I'm sorry.
This man is our coach. Still ain't fired him.
Maybe that's because the front office see that Jim Boylen is not responsible for the situation they're in. Now, a lot of times front offices will fire coaches not because the coach isn't good at the job or the coach isn't the right coach for the job, but because they need to blame somebody for the reason why the team isn't winning, so they don't have to take responsibility. And all the time I keep saying it, this whole one and done philosophy that these teams have, where you bring a head coach in for a season, sometimes even a half a season, and you get rid of them without them even having a fair chance at actually doing their job, I think it's criminal, man. I think it's criminal.
Fired him for whatever reason. This man is still the head coach, chilling at the crib. He need to be selling his house in Chicago, bro. Sell it. Because he's more fit.
I agree. And I'm going to say this. I think he needs to go somewhere where he's actually going to be given a chance. He needs to go somewhere where he's actually going to be, he's going to be respected. Why would I want to coach somewhere where the fans don't respect me, the media doesn't respect me, my own players don't respect me? For all that, man, I could go to college. I could go to college and coach college kids. Like, for real, man. Like, the disrespect that these coaches get for trying to do the best they can with sometimes subpar talent is ridiculous, man. Like, you're supposed to be a miracle worker. Not every coach can be a miracle worker. Sometimes you need time and work to get the job done, man. Like, that's just what it is, man.
As an assistant coach, but not even here. You're done. No more assistant here. You've ran your course.
Is it worth the risk to continue to do that in the season that's been filled with 8 straight losses? You guys haven't played up to the standards.
Hey, I'm gonna keep it fuck with you. These media people, they throwing them hard hitting questions. They not beating around the bush.
Because that's what their job is. Their job is to be as I'm not going to say uncensored. Their job is to be as unfiltered as they can to get the best soundbite that they can get. That doesn't mean that they're saying what they're saying is true. That doesn't mean what they're saying holds any weight. They're just they're pretty much asking the questions that's floating out there because they need the soundbite. That means they're good at what it is they're supposed to be doing. That doesn't mean they're actually good at their job. And that doesn't mean that they're exposing Jim Boylen for something that I don't believe he is.
Hey, Jim Boylen, you're making mistakes here, bro.
Yeah, one of his biggest mistakes was actually taking his job.
Reading his mind on that, or are you just making that assumption that that's what he's upset about? He hasn't said a word to me about it.
And the media has a habit of doing that, where they will take thoughts that we haven't heard the players say. They will take thoughts and try to throw them out there as like bait to get a response from the coach. And they've done that twice since I've been watching this video, where they will say a player said this, or a player, or this about a player, that about a player, and Jim Boylen says, well, did you hear that from him? Did it come from him? Or are you just saying that? That's the second time I've heard that.
He's very respectful about me pushing the team.
Oh man, this guy's just such a clown. 10 minutes of him being a clown. And every single moment, it's like, yeah, that's him being a clown. But again, I wouldn't be like...
He's a clown because, not that he's bad at his job, but because he hasn't shown the ability to turn a franchise who has had bad luck over the last 20, 25 years and be able to turn them into championship winners in one season. Not even a whole season. The season was shortened because of the quarantine. He hasn't shown the ability to turn this perennial 35 and 47 team into a 48-34 team and into a playoff team. Like, he hasn't shown the ability to do that with less than a season.
The one fan, I wouldn't be like the one fan to like literally call him out like that. I just think that's not very cool.
And then obviously we couldn't help but notice Jim Boylen back there. You guys have to iron some things out. You guys okay?
It's the same interview.
Yeah, no, we good,
All right, so look, I'm gonna just end it here, man. Look, you want to watch the video uninterrupted? You want to watch the video in its totality? Go check out King of the Fourth Quarter. It's just a few of those points I wanted to touch on. I felt like I made my point. Again, this guy's channel was incredible. I love his content. I felt like I had to address this, man, because as a fan base, man, sometimes we can be the biggest issue with sports. As a fan base, sometimes we are the biggest problem. And whether we choose to acknowledge that is up to us. But good luck to Jim Boylen. Good luck to the Chicago Bulls in the future. I hope Jim Boylen is able to bounce back after this disaster. I hope that he's able to be given a fair shake somewhere else, because this has made me a fan of the man. Ironically, this has made me a fan. I'm rooting for Jim Boylen now, whether he's in Chicago or not. I'm rooting for Jim Boylen. I think Jim Boylen deserves an opportunity to be successful, and sometimes you don't get that with a franchise. But let's keep it at that, man. Everybody enjoy the rest of their week. The quarantine is supposed to be ending soon, apparently. Hopefully everybody can get back to living comfortable lives. All right.